Hello again. Here we are, my story, very normal people. Today we have Sam Johnson. He is a life coach, a counselor. He is he's he is very good in trauma solutions, let's say. But he will tell us more
Yeah.
about himself. Please tell us, Sam, who you are.
Well, welcome and thank you for inviting me to be here today. And I'm just appreciative of the time to share and just a little bit about me. I'm been in the therapy field about 15 years, and I work with individuals and couples and families, and I've been married as well for 13 years. Can't believe it. It's been 13
They go
years.
fast, huh? I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, I'm now one of those people that people come up to and say like, "Wow, tell us how," and I can't believe I'm at that stage in my life where people are asking me already. I have two kids, 12 and 13, and they keep us really busy, and so does my work. And I just love helping people be healed from traumatic experiences.
Okay, let's go into that.
Let's
So,
go.
I know I have a lot of traumas, where I come from, my since I was a little, oh, maybe I'll get some solution for my traumas,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I can.
maybe we can help today, and I hope that will definitely happen because there, as you've said,
Mhm.
there. Um, so we can start maybe I think with what trauma is,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Because
Mhm.
there are big traumas that people think about. So like maybe living through a war or watching or witnessing their best friend or their mother die. And of course there are other things that are traumatic. Child abuse is also one that we think about as like maybe a big trauma, but there are also little traumas. So maybe and this one may sound silly for some, but maybe your mom threw away your favorite teddy bear when you were 7, or maybe someone in grade school or primary school said to you, "You're ugly" or "You're fat," and those are maybe not as intense, but they still affect us. So I like to say that trauma is anything
Mhm.
that when you think about it causes you pain or discomfort. So the definition is really, really big, and anybody that's lived through 2020 has gone through a trauma. We've all been traumatized by COVID this year and other experiences, but no one gets out of this life alive, in my opinion, without
Okay.
trauma. Now, that we think that word's so big, right? Sometimes it gets so scary with the big T, but we can also have little T's too that affect us.
Mhm. Let's say that even a small experience sometimes it causes you, it goes so deep in you that it hurts you, right? That is.
Right. So if we are dwelling on it, if we're focusing on it, if we're giving our attention to it, and it causes us discomfort, anything other than, well, let me back up and say, if it's a memory, if it's something that we're thinking about,
Mhm.
anything other than a neutral or a pleasant response, in this definition, would be a trauma.
Trauma.
Yeah. And
So in these ones, at least everybody has.
yeah. So it's very normal. It's something that
It's a
every
part of
normal
life. We
person.
cannot escape that in one sense, right?
Exactly,
A small,
exactly.
big, but it still is there
It's
in
still
our.
there. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we have lots of ways to deal with trauma already,
Mhm.
and most of them are very effective. That's one of the great things about our brain. Our brains are magnificently, wonderfully made, um, and this part of our brain up here
Mhm.
controls our ability to think and process and how should I say it? I want to to help us. This part of our brain helps us. Okay. And the great thing about it and the bad thing about it is it helps us by creating a wall or keeping us away from difficult things. So a short or quick example might be maybe I walked down a street, and when I walked down that street, a bunch of guys beat me up on that street. Okay. So my brain is going to tell me, don't go down that street. Walk around and go down this street because it's safer. Okay. But it's taking us, an hour and a half to go that way when we could have gone 15 minutes this way, right? So our brain can help us, but it also has other effects, other consequences, because now you have to plan an hour and a half instead of 15 minutes.
Right. That's a very good example. So, is possible that all the traumas can be healed or can be cured, let's say, in one sense? Is it possible that all the drama can be deleted and a person to be, let's say, as much as possible a normal person?
My answer to that question is yes. And I think some people might be on this call, or some people might say that's astounding, or no, that's not possible. And I understand and respect that, because this part in our brain that is working so hard to make sure we go around says there's no way that we can keep doing all of that work because it takes a lot of time. But what this part doesn't know is that if we can go through it safely, we can be healed more quickly. And so yes, it is possible. There are strategies, there are approaches that you can use to heal from really big T's and the little ones. So yeah, it is definitely possible. And I work with people every day who heal themselves from their trauma.
Okay, that's good to know. So there's hope for me.
Yes. and everyone on this call, everyone who's listening to this.
At least you are helping one person. Okay. So what about the family trauma? They are, as long as I've heard, they are a little bit more, they go more deeper than some others, let's say, ones that we have experienced in our family.
Right. So if we've been betrayed or mistreated or hurt, right, or harmed by a family member, that's what you're talking about, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they maybe land deeper or cut deeper, but given time and given trust, you can be healed from those too. If I can, the challenge to families is it's sort of like layer on layer on layer of trauma, right? Because there's the event, and then there's a betrayal. So we trusted someone, and then we were betrayed by them. So that has to be healed. The event itself has to be healed. And then we have to think about, well, can we trust other people, right? So, and all of those things happened when our brain was really young and helpless. So it starts believing I'm stuck and I'm helpless. We've got to help it. So if we go back to that analogy, if this is I'm helpless and I'm weak, we've got to help it understand, no, you're not 3 anymore. You're actually an adult, and you can go through this, and it's not going to be pleasant. It's not going to be a walk through a beautiful park, but it isn't going to destroy you. And that's what some of the tools and techniques that trauma therapists, including myself, have available to them.
Okay. What I have noticed is, because I have my fears as well, and what I have tried to do is, for example, I was always afraid of snakes. Okay, I mean,
Okay.
not just from snake, but for many things. It was very disgusting for me. But once, when I was about 9 years old, I think there was a snake, a harmful one. Okay, not the, not the ones with the poison. And somebody let an adult just let it there near where we were in our entrance of the apartment building. And I saw it. I said, "Oh," and I was looking, and then little by little, I just approached it, and then I touched a little bit the tail, a little bit body, and then I saw that it didn't even do anything, and then I started to catch by the neck, you know what I mean, and then I was
Yeah.
starting to
Yeah.
play, and I was making to the others look at how strong I am, It's like, is how did it help me, Is it a good way to go to,
Right. And it is a good way to go. But I'm going to add to this
Mhm.
that for some people, it's too terrible. It's too scary.
Mhm.
It's too much to do what you did. Their brain is telling them, no, I have to keep going this way. I have to. It's impossible. I can't do that. And their brain is telling them the right thing from its point of view, right? And that's why we have to help it with some other strategies, with some other tools. So your tool is a good one. It's very effective, but there could be people on this that are watching this that say like, well, I'm glad that worked for you. That will never work for me. And then my response is, well, that's fine. There are some other approaches. There are some other ways. There isn't just one way to deal with trauma. That's a great one. That taking, in a sense, like taking baby steps and moving closer and closer and closer. And one of the things that your brain was probably telling you each step of the way is, this is safe. This is safe. This is safe. Oh, it's not so bad. I can do this. Whereas another person's brain will say, it's not safe. Right.
I see. That is my way for many things. That is how I approach to the things, to the things that scare me, or the things that are unknown to me. I just go little by little, step by step.
Yeah.
Still, I haven't been falling somewhere. So
right.
Up to now, it had been working.
And little by little, step by step is a great one. But for some people, so now I'm going to change this analogy to this walk going around the block is going to be like a wall. Some people have such a strong wall that they're going to put up that wall is not going to, so it's not going to come down. You were able to get your wall to come down enough. And some people are going to say, no, we're not, it's just absolutely not safe to do that. And then there are approaches in therapy that can be useful for that.
Okay. You said you are a life coach as well. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So when you talk with your clients about their lives, to help them, how does trauma stops them for being better or having success in their lives? How does it affect them?
Yes. So going back to that example, the wall blocks people from doing things that they may want to, believing that they can. So I want to think of how I'd like to say it. So we call them, and in lots of life coaching, people might hear this as self-limiting beliefs.
Oh, okay.
So this thing that we say, like, I cannot, or I'm too weak, or and here's the opposite. Some people have I'm too much,
yes,
or I'm come on too strong, and people don't like that. I was actually just working with someone this morning that was healing from a belief of too much. That people don't want to be around that. So whatever the belief is, whatever it is, it's not true, right? So our body, and that's really important to me. I'm a body therapist. Our body gets organized around keeping itself safe from whatever these beliefs are. So, a typical one is I'm scared. So a body might flinch or get tense, or there are different responses. The body could go completely limp, and a person could not be present, right? So have you ever talked to someone and they're like, what did you just say? I don't know what you said. And not just because they were thinking about something else, but because they could have been in a frightened or fearful situation. Yeah.
So when we speak about life coaching, so can you please tell us a little bit more? What do you usually say to your clients to succeed? To do not use many words. So what do you usually tell them or whatever?
But so I'm known, quote unquote, as the trauma guy. Okay. So in a lot of the coaching that I'm doing, I'm helping people overcome what is holding them back. Mm-hmm. And in those experiences, we were working through it. We would be working through this discomfort, and I'm sharing with them the skills, the approaches that I have available to me. So one is tapping, one is special breathing approaches, unique breathing tools. One is called EMDR. It's a type of therapy. I don't tend to use that in life coaching, almost never. Internal family systems, IFS coaching, and some other tools and techniques. There's some drawing approaches, because people's minds and how we hold trauma is not up here. Okay, it's not linear, and it's not rational per se. I don't want to tell people that. I'm not trying to intend that people's fears are irrational, but how we store trauma doesn't go A to B to C. It's not like that. It's stored in a picture or an image or a flash, and we can be 35 years old or 45 and start feeling 2 or 3 just like when it happened. Mm-hmm. Our trauma doesn't have time. It doesn't store time. That the storing the time is up here again. And trauma is, if you could draw a line between your ears and then right through your eyes, trauma lives right in the middle of your brain, and it's not a thinking experience. So we have to deal with it. We have to deal with it in a different way. We can't just talk and logically think ourselves out of trauma.
That was a very good explanation about that, because people, when they have trauma, they feel the same that they felt years ago.
Yes,
they have the same feeling. They sweat or whatever they have had.
Yes, and so in coaching or in therapy, I will invite the person to go back there in a safe enough way. That's the word that comes up a lot. We can go back there in a safe enough way for you to process it. Okay? This trauma doesn't have to be managed. It doesn't have to be dealt with. It doesn't have to be fixed. It just needs to be healed. And how it gets healed is processing it. So it's stuck. For another metaphor might be like, so if you want to use a computer, like the code is wrong. The coding is wrong. So it's not going to where it needs to go. It's not able to pass through the hole that it needs to get on its way. And if we can do this in a safe enough way, if we can explore that experience in a safe enough way, then it can get to where it needs to go and be processed effectively. It's basically a processing error. Trauma is a processing error.
Okay. What about you say in couples as well. Also, you try to help couples to be recovered,
Hmm.
let's say from their trauma that they cause in one another, or just for the
Both.
past.
Yep, both. Right. So traumas affect. I'm sorry. Couples affect each other, and then they're also carry in their experiences from their childhood into your relationship. Right. So, who hasn't, if they're in a partnership or a marriage, accidentally at one time said the name of their parent, right? For so
Yeah, well, indeed.
so like if your wife is Sally, but your mom is Jen, and then you say, Jen, you're driving me crazy, right? And part of that is because we do reenact this trauma. And I'm not saying your parent, it didn't necessarily mean in this instance that your parent beat you, although it could have been, but maybe that parent looked at you in a way that made you feel bad or sad, right? So we bring that into our present relationship. So it would be both, so your partner themselves could cause discomfort, or it could be something from your past. And again, that can be worked through in a safe enough way. Now, first, when I'm working with couples, is the two of them have to be safe with one another, right? So it's always in trauma work. It's always about safety. It's always about safety, and so there's a couple relationship, but then there's me with them. So they have to feel safe with me. So I'm working with safety with them and safety with each other. If it's just me and one client, then it's just safety with me, right? So there's an extra layer there.
I see. Uh, Also, you still do? I mean, you do the same, let's say, ways that, uh, for example, you take a client. He doesn't know how to behave. He's very anxious in the society and doesn't know how say to behave himself. And then you take him. So you cure him. Let's say he's cured uh, inside himself, and then you try to take him in a small group, little by little, step by step, or you just what is your way that let's say the steps that you take to cure a client from
Right.
their
Right.
traumas? Yeah.
Well, I believe that people have everything within them that they need. It's just this wall, going back to that's telling them that they don't, okay? Because they have to be safe, okay? So the wall says, I think you're still 3, I think you're still 5, and you're not an adult and you can't handle this, okay? But if we can help that part in the brain that thinks that they're young by working through, by processing these experiences, it's my experience, it's my view that people actually are more than capable of coping and managing. And I do have clients, I do have people who enter into this treatment who will share or will state, I can't do this, or I've had a person contact me and say, because they were just starting treatment with me and had seen someone else, and they said, well, what if I need to call you? What if I'm stuck, or what if I'm overwhelmed and I need you to talk me down? And my response to that was, well, of course you're allowed to call me, but my goal is to get you to the place where you don't need me to call. You're going to be able to heal what's happening inside of yourself. I'm just a guide. I'm not some superpower. Trust me, ask my wife. She'll let you know I don't have any superpowers. It's just helping a person process and heal that traumatic response. So when I hear that, like, what are the steps that you take? I come back with saying, well, let's just find out what steps that person needs to heal. So if I worked with you, I'd say like, okay, well, it seemed like moving in this approximation forward, that's going to be an effective strategy for you. But this other person who says there's no way I can walk down that street, I'm going to ask them, okay, well, what feels right for you? We probably will need to heal from significantly more experiences for this other person, this fictitious person that I'm making up is doing this, before they're going to have the strength, they're going to have the ability to do what you did, right? Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Is that
That's right? Yeah.
And I just we work with people on an individual basis to see what's going to be best for them.
For them, yeah, because it depends on the character or
the
trauma that they are having, right? Okay. Yeah. No,
and and their approaches, right? So there's resources, and I call them internal resources. Some other person might hear, and I don't think they're the same, but another person might hear in that coping strategies. But I don't use that term because I don't buy it. I don't believe in coping strategies. You don't need to cope. You need to heal, right? So let's find out what internal resources, what you already have going for you that we can build on and start this base and then keep growing from there.
Okay. Okay. The time we try to keep our, let's say, to keep our show a little bit short, not to have it a long one. So if you have something that you want to share with our audience before we finish, so
yeah. Absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm just honored and privileged that anyone would want to listen and hear, and I'm so thankful that you came on. And secondly, I think what I really want to hit home, it's so important to me, is that no one needs to live with trauma. There's so many ways to be healed from it. Use these methods to approximate and move, or find someone if there's more deeper work that needs to be done. Find a close friend or talk to your spouse. Please don't live with your trauma, because it only is hurting you and your loved ones around you. And I got healed from mine and went on this mission to heal others, because it's so needed right now. So that would be about it. I'd stop there.
Yeah. Thank you. So for people who are interested to follow you, so let's say that you will give us your details where they can find you, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So my website is just my name, samgaryjohnson.com. And then that has all my, contact information there, email address, and, there's a contact form, and I'm on Facebook and, that sort of thing. People can find me if they want to. I'm out there.
Everywhere they go, in their whatever, in Facebook, Google, whatever it is, just right
should
there.
Be, yeah. And my business name is the number 4C Ltd. So that's how I'm on Facebook, is the number 4 and then C Ltd.
Okay, I will write all of them under the video so people can find it easier to know.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you very much again.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure.
We hope to have you again. So, guys, don't forget, subscribe if you haven't done it yet, and share with your friends, the ones that have trauma, even yourself. Goodbye till the next time. Thanks again, Sam.
Thanks.